How to make uncooked chapatis and tortillas and why you really need a clean towel to do it with. I'm Urvashi, my blog is TwoSleevers.com, and I'm going to show you how to make these chapatis. So these are pre-rolled ones. Costco sometimes has them, Indian stores definitely have them. People are always asking me if I can teach them how to make naan. And here's the thing, I know how to make naan, but we don't normally make it at home every day. So you actually only get to eat naan when you go for a wedding, which is a really good reason to go for a wedding. Indian weddings are over the top to start with, so there's good reasons anyway. But for every day, this is whole wheat, and so this is what we prefer. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna buy one of these, and if it's frozen, you're gonna defrost it, and then you are going to very carefully peel one out there. So the peeling is actually important. So what you wanna do is you wanna take it very, very carefully without tearing any of it. So just ease your way out, and then you have one open, okay? And then do the same thing on this side. So if they're recently frozen and you've just defrosted it, set it out so that they come to room temperature and they're less likely to stick. Okay, what can you make it on? So in this case, what I have is just an electric griddle, something you might use to make pancakes or whatever. You can also use a non-stick saucepan. Something like this Mealthy, which is my favorite pan. You should watch a review of it. Super sturdy, thick bottom, and I think it's 3 or 5 ply. Anyway, something like this you could just put on the stove. All you want is you need the circumference to be much larger than the chapati that's going in, so you have some room to maneuver. By the way, chapatis are also known as rotis, R-O-T-I. So on this griddle, I'm going to turn this up to around 350. You need a clean towel that can be washed, and you need a silicone brush and some ghee. I have a video for how to make ghee. In fact, this ghee is from when I made that video. And you're gonna brush the top of it with ghee after it's finished. So you want that one. I'm gonna tell you the difference between chapatis and tortillas. So chapatis are made with almost whole wheat. However, if you use the whole wheat that's available here in the United States, it's not quite the same thing. What you really want to do if you want to make chapatis from scratch is you want something called atta, A-T-T-A. And if you go into an Indian store, you can buy atta, which is, I don't know what it is to be honest, but it's whole wheat, but it's not whole wheat. Tortillas, on the other hand, are made with what we call all-purpose flour, which is more white flour. There's a difference in texture, there's a difference in the nutritional profile, and there's a difference in how they cook up, which I will show you. Okay, so this is about 300 and it's very hot, and so I'm going to start these. Now when you're starting it for the first time, don't put 2 like I just did. But I like this griddle because you can make multiple at a time. You're really supposed to serve these hot. So a lot of the times when the guests sit down is like 5 minutes before people sit down to eat is when we start making these. So you got to be really, really fast in order to do that. You're just going to wait until it starts to blister a little bit. You can't turn up the heat too much because otherwise what's going to happen is that the chapati is going to burn before it cooks. This is raw flour and water and oil and salt. So you really need it to cook. So it's a really good unleavened bread that you can make, but you need it to cook properly. Okay, I'm going to turn this over and look at it. I want you to look at it with me. I turned this over a little bit sooner than I should have, but you see it's kind of white on this side, okay? One of the really important things about making chapatis that my grandmother insisted on is you cannot be flipping it over constantly. She just really got on my case when I did that. Now, when it's kind of semi-cooked, you start to press down. Okay, I hope you guys can see. See how they're puffing up? This is what you want. You hold it down until it puffs up. Can you see that? That's how you're gonna do this, okay? The pressing down helps the air to come in the middle, and it also helps cook the other side evenly. So, when I've done a little bit of this, I'm gonna flip it over. This needs to be jacked up still. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do this. See this side, how it's got a few little spots of brown? This is what you really want, okay? I flipped that other one too soon. Okay, why are we doing this? Why are we pressing this down? When you separate it like this, the layers that it makes, the 2 separate layers, the top layer is super crunchy and crispy, and the bottom layer isn't, and so that's what you want. Okay, something that has happened here is it stopped rising because there's a bit of a hole somewhere. There's a hole right here that the air is escaping from. So what you do, this one is beyond repair, you put your towel down where the hole is, and usually that helps to fix it. So these 2 actually are done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put them in here. What you want to do is take a little bit of ghee on your brush, and then you want to put it in here, and you want to flip this over and put some on the other side. Okay? And then cover that, and I will show you one more since the stove is really hot. Okay, I'm going to show you another way to do it, which helps fry it a little bit. So this time what I did was I took the ghee and I put it on the cooked chapatis. There's a way to do it where you can use either oil or ghee while the chapati is cooking, and it crisps it up a little bit differently. So I'll show you that way as well. And when you can see the edges kind of starting to dry out a little bit is when you know it's time to flip. Okay, and this is another time to flip. See that one? It's fairly evenly cooked on all sides. Now some people would cook it for longer, and you certainly can. We're going to start our pressing down exercise. See how it's separating from the bottom? That's going to make it a lot crisper. And by the way, whether or not it separates has all to do with the skill of the person that made it. There's a certain art to making these, which is complicated, which is why I haven't shown it to you this time. And I'm going to flip this over. Not ready yet. Okay, here's a really nice one that's done all the way. Okay, now what you can do, take some ghee again and put it on here. Okay, now that it's puffed, I'm going to break this so that it's more maneuverable. I'm going to put ghee here, and you can hear it sizzle. Now, of course, once you do this, you don't want to be using your cloth on it. So if this is how you want to do it, you need a spatula. I'm making rice in the back. That's what's going on. I'm going to show you in another video here. I'm going to show you how to use these to eat with your hands. Which most people are intimidated by, but it's actually really, really simple. Okay, see how this is a whole lot crisper? This is how you would do it. And then before serving it, you definitely want all the air out of it, and you want to move it with the other guys. Okay? All right, so let's do a tortilla same way. Honestly, my Costco is more likely to have these than the chapatis, and they're not the same thing at all, but I do use them. Again, very, very carefully, you want to separate one and put it on here. Now, I know traditionally you're not supposed to use ghee with tortillas, but you guys, ghee is good with everything. So you should use it. You should watch the video, 20 minutes to make ghee. While we were doing this, our ghee could have been cooking unsupervised in the corner and would have been done by now. So basically what I'm suggesting is do it at 400 because that seems to be the right temperature. Normally I do it over the stove top and I just kind of adjust because I've done it so many times, I know how, but it's good to give you guys starting directions. So start at 400. I bet some person who grew up making tortillas is going, you didn't cook it enough. I probably didn't. I'm a little nervous about letting it burn while you guys are watching, so I'm being a little extra cautious. I don't have to redo this. Okay, I do the same thing. Now, ordinarily, you would put this on an open flame, like a gas flame, and finish it out. But every time I try that, A, I burn myself, and B, there's a huge mess all over the stovetop, and it's not the best thing for your gas burners. So I would use one of these or a saucepan. See, I do the same thing. I suppose you could with a spatula as well. I don't know. I'm not comfortable doing that. This to me, see, like I can push the air in a certain direction this way. It's just easier for me. So if you can't find the chapatis or you don't have an Indian store close by or your stores don't carry it, go ahead and make a tortilla. It's not going to taste exactly the same, but it's close enough. And we're going to do this. Okay. You definitely want these covered and you want to eat them hot. The other thing we often do is we fold them like this before serving, and then you can have it on your plate. That's how easy it is to make it. Okay, now here's what I'm gonna do. In the next video, I'm gonna show you actually how to eat anything with these chapatis and tortillas, because you watch other people doing it and you're not really sure exactly how to use it. You cannot, please, for heaven's sakes, for all that is sacred, do not make a burrito out of all of your rice and dal and vegetables and roll it up and eat it. I will teach you a much better way. I'm Urvashi. My blog is TwoSleevers.com. This recipe is not on the blog because it's not a recipe, it's a how-to. I hope that was helpful, and watch the next video, which is going to be how you eat with these things.